Alright guys, so we are in for leg day and I have my gorgeous friend Leanne. Leanne's just come over from the UK. We just had like a businessy thing over the last couple of days, so Leanne flew in for that and we're getting legs in today, and best leg day partner for sure, so it'll be good. We're just literally warming up, just starting off with adductors, building up to a working weight, and that's literally it. We're just gonna probably just bounce the mic back and forth, throw some leg tips around there, things like that, how to build, how to develop your legs and stuff like that. From a guy's point of view, female's point of view, which will probably be exactly the same, but just gives you some tips here and there. So yeah, that's it. Light work. Good. Fight that. Come on, that's yours. Get it. Squeeze, hold it. Good. Woo. I like adductors and things like that to kind of like, I feel, opens up your hips and things like that. Feels really nice to start off with. Like a lot of it, we're doing 3 isolation movements before a big movement. So that way you're technically like pre-exhausted, so when you go into bigger, heavier lifts, that actually you don't just fucking pummel your knees and things like that, like joints apart. Like you're connected, there's blood in there, things like that, joints are safe. So when you go into heavier lifts, they're technically not as heavy, if that makes sense, but they still are heavy, they're pre-exhausted. So
I was gonna say, if you think about your joints and how they are, they need lubricating. You know, there's water inside the pocket, there's bursas, there's connective tissue. And they also need blood stimulation, but it's harder to get blood into ligaments and stuff. They're a different type of tissue to muscle, right? So sometimes if we don't pre-exhaust things and warm things up and get them warm in the areas that have to function around the muscle can take over and you're at more risk of injury. And if all of a sudden you injure a ligament, it takes a lot longer to heal, as I said, because there's less blood in that area and the blood can't go to it to stimulate it to help with healing. So anything, for example, if you're going to do any kind of push, maybe warm up the hamstrings first, because depending on where the muscles cross the joints, it could depend on what you need to pre-exhaust versus isolation train. So for us, we know we're gonna do some heavy squat stuff today, which means our kind of internal hip needs to be able to rotate outwards, also maneuver around our natural body kind of genetic shape, because we're all different. We were actually laughing about different leg lengths this morning and lever lengths. So keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, in. That's it. That's it, control. Hold, 3, 2, 1. Good. I promise if you're not making ugly faces, you're really not working hard enough. There's nothing pretty about this. As you can see, he controlled, even though he was failing, and obviously I gave him a tiny bit of assistance on that kind of last 20 centimeters. The last rep, he controlled it to the last moment. So kind of, he controlled the contraction, but he also controlled the eccentric, the stretch of the muscle. So every single moment was controlled throughout the rep, even though he knew he was failing in that mechanic. And I think that's something to be really like conscious of, no matter what you're training, to make sure that you are in control of the rep till the last rep, even if you're going through failure. A, it limits injury, but B, we're getting the most amount of kind of progressive overload into that moment and into that muscle. So
just make sure that machines are fully set up. So it's such an easy thing to do, especially when you rush into the gym or maybe you don't feel confident in the gym environment. It's so easy just to rush in and be like, yeah, I'll do it like that, because that's the movement I need to do. Take your time, look at the machine, work it out, move it to your body, set, and go from there.
We were just talking about setup, or Brandon was. So the first set, my warm-up set, if you looked from the side, I had a lot of space between where my lower back could plant and the back support. Obviously, I know what I'm doing, so I was able to lock my body into place and still extend through the set. But now I'm going for my first working set. The more pieces of my body that I have connected to the equipment, the more stable I am, which means the more I can focus on the muscle that I'm working as I break down. So I just say the biggest tip for like any kind of quad extension stuff, imagine you're pulling your kneecaps up towards your hip bones, as we have 3 muscles that cross, one of them crossing the kneecap, and they cross the hip joint. If you can really imagine that the kneecaps are pulling up and through, you'll get a really nice quad squeeze and contraction at the same time. And that's what it's all about really, right? Contracting and extending the muscle until it kind of till it tears, and then it repairs, and that's how we get growth. So here we go, lock in.
That's what it's about, right?
Simples. And a 2-second hold at the top is nasty. As it gets harder, I'm going to imagine myself pulling myself into the machine more with my arms.
Good. One more with me. Fight it.
Oh, yeah. She was pretty.
Again, like progress can come from everything. I think it was like, probably wasn't like as good 16, but they were smoother reps. So it's just a better movement. It doesn't have to always be, sorry, it doesn't always have to be like the reps or weight or anything like that. It's like, just move it nicer. It's easy.
That was hilarious. I just literally tried to lift the full stack. It's his job, not mine. The difference in this set between the last set is the 2-second pause at the top. So we're going for just a continuous smooth movement, but we're trying to get some volume in there. So we're forcing as much blood into that muscle as possible. 15 to 20 is the aim.
15, 20.
Here we go. Mind over matter for this one, I'm afraid. Or just being told what to do is quite nice. Oh, that was too light now. Oh my God.
Good. Come on, let's get 10 there. Let's go.
That is 12.
There you go. Come on. Come on. Give me one more full rep. Good. Let's do 5 per hand. There's full reps there.
Oh God, I'm on fire.
2. Come on. Good. 2 more. Good. One more like that.
Oh man. Oh, knees. My quads feel like they're going to tear apart. That was painful. Sometimes if you can't lift heavy, try and go for a really kind of high rep, constant tension set. And the effects that it has if you're really controlling each set, each rep in each set, oh man, destruction.
Using all rep ranges. Like today we'll use everything from 6 to probably 30. So
Yes, depending on where you are in your programming, have fun with rep ranges. They're there for different reasons, to create different effects. So we are mixing it up today with that. Tempo is the same on the way up as it is the way down. You can see his constant tension through his quads. His development's really nice, you can actually see what's happening. All 3 muscles are really contracting and pulling up and through. All you. Should be 10. Nice, I'm with you. Don't speed up. Come on. Up. And again. All you. And again. Keep going all the way. I've got you. 1. And again. Up. 2. Knock them out. Go. 3. And again. Up. 1 more. 5. 6. Keep going. 7. 8. 9. Last one. Last one wasn't about necessarily the quality of rep, but just keeping the blood moving. You can see his rep got shorter and shorter and shorter as he fatigued. I'd give him 20% at the top. If he couldn't match that range, we made it shorter and shorter until he was just working mid-range into almost failure. Well, failure, muscle failure. We were just talking about pin height. So even though I'm super strong in my lower limbs, as you can see, a few years ago I herniated 3 discs in my back. So I have problems in my lower lumbar, which is here. And if you think about where the hamstring crosses, it obviously crosses from the knee to the hip joint. So one of the places that tries to compensate when I'm controlling my hamstrings is pelvic. So my pelvis and my lower back tries to take over because it's not as strong these days. So one of the biggest things for me, and most people when using a machine like this, is whilst you're working on the isometric contraction, is pushing your hips into the machine so that this is completely stable and it's literally just the isolation of the muscle that we want to working. So I have to sometimes go slightly lighter to make sure I get full contraction of the muscle and no compensation or assistance from anywhere else. And that's okay. Like, my strength builds back up. I'm slightly different in different positions of machinery. So a prone hamstring curl for me works really well because I have gravity's help to push my hips into the pad. But sometimes mixing it up as well and working on your weaknesses is really important.
Stay tight, lock in. Nice in. Go on, let's go, my love. Good. One more little rep with me. Go on. Good. Well done. To do, think about driving these hips straight into the pads, pulling her upper body tight on there, screwing the opposite foot into the ground, and then just doing a bicep curl with a hamstring. Good. Last one, last one, last one. Squeeze at the top, squeeze that hole. There, good. Well done.
Rest pause is something that we just are able to use as a technique. There's loads of fun ones. Drop sets, mechanical drop sets, all sorts of stuff. Isometric holds. A rest pause is a great way of extending the set once you're fatigued and just getting that little bit more. It only takes 2 reps past failure to create progressive overload in the muscle, which creates adaptation. He's super anchored, big squeeze. 15, nice. Up and through. You got it. Nice. Breathe. That was 20. So he's just recovering, and we're going to see what we can squeeze out. Go. Still you. Keep going. The reps are shorter, but it's okay. He's still working. 11. And relax. So we managed to squeeze out 12 extra reps, some full, some mid-range, some partials. Here we go. 13. 14. Keep driving. 15. 16, get to 20. Keep driving those hips in. Go. 1. Good, rest pause begins. This is where a little bit of mental determination comes in. How much do you want it? He wants it. Are you ready? Let's go. 6. Just knock them out. Go. 9. 10. 11. One more. They're a killer. That is the face of someone that literally just did an isometric set. And now I'm dreading it because it's my turn. I was like, it's my turn to go. I'm like,
just go
yeah.
silent.
Fear. That's what fear looks like. I think it's good to be nervous. It's good to be on your toes sometimes. It's like why athletes go back to compete. It's why we show up every day when, you know, we don't have to. Stress curve.
Same thing.
So a little bit of nerves means I still A, care, B, I want it, C, I'm about to test myself. So I'm going to learn something about myself today.
Yeah, we have this thing called like it's a basic psychology thing. So the stress curve, we can tag it in the thing. We'll put a picture up on it. So it's pretty much like flat and then stress and it drops back down again. How you always want to be on the climb of stress, like all the time. Because when you're stressed, you deliver. Like whether that's like you got to pay bills or whatever it is, like that's the same reason you track weight when you train, because it's like, right, if you're not a little bit stressed or worried, or maybe not stressed, but anxious to training, like you need to progress, you won't. So having that stress is always like it's an important thing to have, 100%. Otherwise you're just coasting, you're in your comfort zone the whole time. That's all it refers to. They should just call it a comfort curve. Comfort zone curve, that's literally it. Woo, here we go, 12 to 15, and rest pause. Woo, tight. Strong head game, it's always there. Good. There we go, own the weight. Let's go. Good. Last. There it is. Good. Big breath. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Let's go after it. Good. 4, 5. Good. 6. Good. 7, 8. Good. 9, 10. Come on. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Good. Oh, strong. Well done. Big breath. Calm down and lock back in. Good. Take your time. Good. Controlled aggression. Good. Nice. Good. 5, 3, 2, 1. Nice and tight. Good. Good. 4. Good. 5, 6. That's it. Stay tight. Good. 9. Good. 10. Get 5 more. Control. 1, 2, 3, 4. Squeeze this one. Squeeze it. Go on. Good. Well done. Sometimes with this one, where it's a standing one, sometimes like, you can probably see us towards the end, our lower back start to lift off, which is, honestly, it is normal, it's fine, but it's just making sure that when you are doing it, the lower back isn't pulling it as well, because then you start to get a little bit of lower back ache, simple as. Now we squat.
So you probably saw a moment ago, and you can see actually by Brandon's footwear, so he's obviously got a really flat pair of trainers on. And before this, obviously, we were training earlier, and I've just literally changed my shoes. And some of you ask why sometimes. So, through years of dancing, I've actually got, now, I used to have over flexible ankles, and now my ankles are pretty stiff with arthritis. But, for most people out there, most people don't actually have the best range of plantar and dorsiflexion, which is basically how much can you flex the foot and how much can you point the foot. They could be mechanically really good everywhere else. So initially, while we do any kind of like leg pushing, squats, hack squat, goblet squat, anything that drives through the floor, we need to be able to plant our big toe, our little toe and our heel to get maximal force through the shoe. And if you've got kind of any kind of shock absorbent in there from something like a running trainer, you become less stable in the ankle, you have less force drive through the foot, so therefore you produce less force through the movement. Now, if you're someone like me that has now ankles that maybe don't move as well, adding kind of a little extra lift at the bottom gives me kind of that half an inch at the bottom of extra range in my ankle that I might not ordinarily have. It also could be from limb length, right? I'm also very short in the shin. But I've got great range in my knees and in my hips, so it allows me to get a much deeper squat. It's a flat surface, so I still get maximal force through my shoe, but then I just get that extra little bit of help at the bottom to make sure that I max out my full range without being limited by my ankle range. So that's why mine have got a lift on and Brandon's are perfectly flat. So as you can see, I'm taking a big deep breath in, bracing the spine, controlling my knees, driving them over the toes, letting my hip range open out, getting as far as possible down without my hips coming off the pad, keeping my back connected, driving through the heels to come back up, and not locking the knees out. So just keeping nice and tight. Keeping the tension on the quads the whole time. Oh, that's a very smooth machine. It's really nice.
Also, it's good that you're tall as well. Nothing worse than fucking that down here.
I know, he is taller than me, but I am tall for a girl. Tall and strong. You don't turn 40 without muscle. I said I'm not turning 40 without any muscle. So you can see why he's setting up. He's concentrating on getting a good position, so connection between shoulder and pad, back and pad. So that basically all of the stress happens hips below, but he's planted, big toe, little toe, heel. Knees are going to drive over the toes. He's going to get really nice and deep in his hip range. Sometimes on your first rep, don't be afraid to adjust the bottom of the squat. We all feel different in different positions. Some people need the hips more open, some people need the knees facing more straight forwards. We're mechanically all very different. Brandon and I have very different lever lengths, but it's about maximizing your range. He's got a big one to do today. So sometimes, this is why I'm invited. Sometimes you need a friend. We train together a lot anyway. And before Brandon moved to Dubai, we used to train together a fair bit in the UK as well. He's persuading me to come here. He's winning. Sometimes, if you're going for it, you've got a day where you have to really grind to get that next load out, because he's in the middle of a growing phase. So every rep counts for him at the moment. And if he doesn't push, he doesn't grow. And that's what he wants ultimately. So it's a 4 to 5 play day today, and his head has to be in the game. Hence why I'm here. Sometimes you just need a little bit of moral support. Someone that you know is going to push you through it, even if your body's saying no. So it's nice to have someone that is on the same wavelength as you, someone that supports you through your goals, but also someone that can literally pick you up off the bottom of a rep where you're failing.
Yeah, so like everything we do, like I think a common question I get asked is like, oh, like how should I warm up? And I'm like, sounds really bad, but like you see my upper body days, I use the band and stuff to warm up like shoulders and things like that. But generally, like we kind of warm up all the time throughout the sessions. Like we're warming up on this, building up to a working weight, connecting to the muscle. Again, like you saw in our adductors, all this sort of stuff. We do like a couple of reps, couple of sets, build up, and that's it.
Just kind of echoing what Brandon said. The best way to warm up for a mechanic of a set, regardless of your aches and pains that you need to grind out before, is to do the set. Work the mechanic, get the body familiar, mind and muscle connection going, then go for it. You got it, mate. Nice. Super smooth, super fluid. You didn't lock the knees out. Super supported in the back. Knees were over the toes. Made it look easy. That's my turn.
Fight. Good. Last one. Last one. Stay tight. Stay safe. Come on. Fight. Well done. Didn't touch it. Yeah. Nah. Yeah. Fucking hell. It's part of the workout, man.
I've just lightened the load for this rep, in this set, sorry, not rep. The last set I did 2 plates for 4, but what I'm trying to do is not have to brace up my mid-spine, which is fine. I normally race with my lower back injury, but I'm trying to get my back used to supporting itself around the injury. You can retrain your body around injuries that set you back, you just have to think a little differently. So I'm going to go slightly lighter, go for 8 reps, concentrate on bracing really hard, not utilizing a belt for support, so that we can start to build up the erectors around my injury, and also the hip mechanics that work to support kind of like the sling, the hip flexors, the lower back, the erector spinae, all of kind of the details that support the discs that I have problems with. So it's quite a big deal for me to be able to actually do this now.
Good, there's a couple in the tank. Come on, keep working. Good. Come on. Good. Compose. Tight. Fight. Good. Come on. Last rep. Big drive out. Go on. Good. Woo. Heck yeah. Well done. Good reps. Good. Right here, right here. Good. One more with me. Come on. Get tight, come on. dogs?
Pugs.
When their eyes are about to pop out their head?
Yeah, pug dogs.
Yeah. A big 5. 1. Keep it tight. 2. Good. 3. Let's go. Good. Fight. Good. Woo. Well done. Didn't touch it. Well done.
13. Keep going. Right about now. All you. Up. 3. Go. Yep, I got you. I've not touched it. Let's go. Big rep. All you. 18 reps, 9 plates. Not shabby. Super smooth too. Whole set was super tight. I didn't even help him once, not even like towards the last rep.
Last one. I don't know if you can hear this. Hopefully you can hear it, hopefully not, I don't know. Last exercise.
That was the killer. I was just saying I don't know whether to laugh or cry on that last set. The tension builds up, the ache is there, the muscles are screaming at you, and it's just all there. Plus a bit of stimulation from your friend.
I definitely went. I think after the hack squat I stopped talking. That was it. So I think obviously if it didn't pick up any of the volume next to that speaker, we just finished with the hamstring curls. They did one set of it was like 8 to 12 reps, right? 8 to 12 reps, and then we did a 6x4, so a muscle round, so 10 seconds rest, 4 reps, 10 seconds rest, 4 reps, until that was all done. And then calves, we just did 2 straight sets of 10 to 15 reps. It's quite nice because I don't normally do a drop set on calves because you can't really reach, it's a bit awkward. So so guys, let's do a drop set on that. So that was quite nice. But otherwise, that's it. It's always nice to train with Leanne. She's very smart. She knows her shit, which is good. And she sometimes explains. You explain it better than me. So I'm very basic to explaining things. But it's nice to just have train with her and things like that. So it's good. Wrap up.
I think you pretty much said it all there. We've trained together a lot in the past, so we know each other really well. And it's always nice, I think, on big days that you need extra support, have the extra support. Ask a friend, call someone over from the other side of the gym to help you get that little extra rep out. It doesn't, as Brenda said, it doesn't actually always have to be the most technical thing that you think about, the most technical way you execute something, as long as you're safe and you're working hard and you're training smart. Biggest thing, big leg day, let's go eat. Let's go get some fuel, get some glycogen back into these muscles, let protein synthesis happen, so get some protein and some carbs in you within 90 minutes.
Yeah, that's it.
And we'll be doing it again in a week's time.
Easy. No, that's it, last one to wrap up, guys. I think it's just that typical thing, it's like everything with nowadays, there always seems to be this magic formula or this complicated sequence, but training just comes down to the reason someone's in good nick is just because they're consistent. That is generally all it comes down to, and then just fine tune stuff along the way, execute quickly and then just fine tune. It's just start training and then fine tune it as you go. It's the same as everything. But yeah.
The mundane skills, day in, day out.
Yeah, so it's like if you're looking for a fancy exercise, I'm like, well, I can't give you one, but like I know like squats and lunges work. So get really good at doing squats and lunges, and like get really good at doing a curl or extension. Like at the end of the day, your knee only does that, so you're pretty limited to what you can do. So that's it. But I'm done talking.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the biggest mistake anybody makes when training or new to training, they mix it up too much. They don't get good at the fundamentals, the simple movements, some kind of squat pattern, some kind of lunge pattern, some kind of hamstring curl, some kind of bicep curl. And they're too worried about trying too much instead of just getting good at a movement. And then once you're good at it, load it heavy. And then from there, skill acquisition will come. You can start varying up your exercises a little bit more, but some of the best bodybuilders in the world and some of the best athletes in the world are good because they rinse and repeat the same things over and over, and they're not afraid to go back to basics and train the simple movements well. So yeah, I would say that's my biggest thing to take away. Don't be afraid to do the simple movements, learn how to do them well, and then get strong at them.
Yeah.
Knowledge is wealth, right?
Knowledge bomb.